Hello everyone, welcome back. Today, we got a treat for you. We're going to make baked steak. And traditionally on Sundays is usually fried chicken day around here. My grandparents, my mom and dad, always, everywhere we went, fried chicken was the Sunday meal. Well, today we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to make some baked steak. And before we do that though, I want to give a quick shout out to my daughter Lana. She's 9, getting ready to turn 10 in just a few days. Happy birthday, and I want to say thank you for teaching me how to edit and use this video stuff to make these. Thank you very much. All right, let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do, we got our hands washed. I'm gonna put my gloves on. And I have about a cup of seasoned flour. Now, what seasoned flour is, it's just all-purpose flour or any kind of flour that you put salt and pepper in or any kind of seasonings. I have salt and pepper in mine. You can even buy seasoned flour at the grocery store. They make several good ones. Here is our steak. And I'm going to get that opened up. And what we will do, let's get our seasoned flour there. And we'll take these and dredge them in our flour. And then I have a little pan here that we'll set these on as we get them floured out, and I'll show you that in a minute. Just a little sheet tray is all it is. These are nice steaks. So chop steak or cube steak, what you use for baked steak. It's a good tender cut. You know, originally it's not, but by the time they run it through the cuber, it makes a nice piece of meat. Especially when you bake it. And I do mine in a gravy, and we'll get to that. I'll show you how to make that. Here on the last 2 pieces of flouring our steak. Here's our last one. Okay, just to show you, here's my steaks now all breaded up with flour. And the next step is we're gonna chop an onion. Slice it up. It don't have to be perfect. We're just doing the onion for flavor. Traditionally, you know, a lot of people don't put onions in their baked steak or other things. They just do the steak and a gravy. But I like that flavor. Onions tend to give everything you cook flavor. Well, maybe not quite everything, but meat-wise. All right, so that was one probably medium-sized yellow onion. And we're just gonna put this in our bowl and wait till we're ready for it. Okay, now we have that out of the way. Let's go over to the stove and start getting this going. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna turn on our stove, say a medium high. So we're gonna put a little oil in here. because what we're going to do with these steaks, we're going to fry them a little bit, almost like frying chicken. Brown them up. Get my bottom good and coated. You don't want a whole lot of oil, but you don't want not enough, because they will soak up oil. You get a little pinch of your flour and throw it in there. Just a tiny pinch, and if it bubbles, you know your oil is hot enough. I use a gas stove because we have natural gas where I live. So we're going to let that sizzle a minute. There we go. Well, get flipped over there, buddy. There we go. And there's that. Now we'll let these go for a little bit. And you can tell when something isn't quite done yet, when it's meat and it's coated with flour. If you take your spatula and you try to push it one way or the other and it doesn't move easily, then it's not done. It's still cooking. That flour's still gooey and sticking to the pan. But at some point, you'll go to give that a little push or a move, and it'll move freely. You know that you're at that point then. See that? That your flour is starting to harden up, so that your meat's starting to move, so it won't stick and burn. So there's that one. Alright, that one's still sticking a little, and so is this one. And that's probably because they're closer to the edge of the pan than the other ones was. So there we go. And move it over there. This one's still a bit, and I'm going to move it up, my pan up on the fire just a hair. Yep, there it goes. And we'll just let these brown for a minute. Let's see what we got here. All right. So let's kind of move these out of the way. And I'm going to put my finished steaks back over here on the side. And I'm not trying to cook these all the way through or anything. I'm just getting them browned a little bit, so we can start our next round, because we're going to finish these off in the oven. Now I already have my oven preheated to 350, and the time when I was, so on my gas stove, I have it set, our stove goes from 1 through 6, and then it has high. So essentially 7 settings. And I have mine about 4.5 to 5 for a medium high heat. Every stove is different. Okay. So this one is, ready to be flipped. And this one is also. Let's see about this one. Oh. Yeah. Okay. We are going to add in our onions. If you like more onions, you can always add more onions. I am going to add in just a little bit of salt. I'm just going to grab the pepper and kind of with my finger. So at this point, I have a little browning and seasoning sauce. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of that in there. And we're just going to stir that around a little bit. And yes, it's dark, but that's what's going to give you your color in your gravy. Now, we're going to add a broth to deglaze this pan a little bit. Scrape those up off of there. Now, I'm going to add just a little bit more beef broth in there. And we're going to add our steak back to this. And you can see the steak shrinks a little bit, which is no problem. Now, I'm cooking 8, but you can do any number you need to for your family. You can just layer those in there. You can see I was able to fit all 8 right in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add more broth until this is covered. You might give a little dunk there to make sure everybody's kind of taking a bath and not too much sticking out. We are going to put our lid on it, and we're going to turn our heat up, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Okay, so now you can see we've brought it up to a boil, and that's what we're wanting to do. So we have our oven set on 350. You see our oven's set on 350. We are going to set our timer for 1 hour. All right. Okay, so we got about 12 to 13 minutes left. What I have here is cornstarch, just a little bit in here, depending on how much liquid you actually have, the amount of cornstarch to use. So I have about maybe 1/4 cup, and now I'm going to add water to that. So what we're doing is we're going to make what's called a slurry, which will thicken our gravy. Okay, so here's our slurry, and we just added just enough water in there to liquefy that cornstarch. So we're going to set it aside, and we'll get our steak out and go from there. Okay, so we have our steak out of the oven. So now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check our temperature. I temp everything. It's just the way I was trained. It's a lot safer that way, and looks like we are about 163, which is perfectly fine, and it's still climbing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in our slurry. Let me get my... Now be careful, because remember, you got this pan out of the oven and it is going to be hot. So we're going to give it a little stir before we add in the slurry, just to get everything mixed. Now we'll add in our slurry, and you always want to use cold water when you're making a slurry. And you'll see that it's starting to thicken up a little bit. You don't want it too thick, but just enough. And you give that a stir around. steak's back down in the gravy. Pour it up good. You might want to spoon a little on top. And see, I still have a little left, but that's okay. So spoon on our spoon holder. Put our lid back on and put it back in the oven. Okay, so our baked steak is now done. You can see that. Let's get the spoon here. Now be careful, because remember, your pan is extremely hot. And here's what our steak looks like down in the gravy. All right, so our baked steak is done. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please like and subscribe. You know, hit that thumbs up button. It really does get the videos out to other people. When I was just watching YouTube, I never did that myself, but I didn't understand until I started my channel that when you hit that thumbs up button, they actually send it out to more people, so more people can see your videos. So please like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment. If there's any dishes that you would like to see cook or learn how to cook, please leave a comment, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so there's the finished product, and let's give it a try. Nice and tender, great flavors. Green beans, you see here, I made a video of how to make green beans. Mashed potatoes, that'll be a video in the future. Enjoy your Sunday, and I want to give a shout out to my mom and my brother, who's always behind the camera helping me out. They're what my grandpa would call fetch it people. So they're always getting me, helping me take care of everything, and I appreciate that. And I want to give another shout out to my daughter. I appreciate her too. All right. See you guys next time.